And I think that one thing that was sort of interesting about the previous consolidated model is you would have these media spends that would essentially bankroll all the fun stuff, right? And then what I see is like up in, to varying degrees up until now, that agency model would kind of be like a cargo cult, right? If I don't know if you know that historical reference, but there were these the groups of natives that would go out trying to get cargo deliveries from the GIs long after World War II had ended, and they would go out and expect the same thing, and nothing would happen because the events had changed. Um, so with that in mind, one thing that I think was really interesting is your example from Benton and Bowles or Bowles. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Do you remember that from the book, and would you mind talking about that if you do?
I do, and I actually saw that in your LinkedIn post earlier today. I'm like, oh, look at that! That's a cool post. And so that is actually from Drew's section in the book, and I thought it was a really cool story. And when I read that, when he written that chapter, and I read that, I'm like, okay, there's a perfect example of an agency that is not only creative in the content that is being created, but then they're also creating a very unique channel opportunity for the client. And so the agency that you referenced came up with the idea of a soap opera. Back then it was a radio broadcast. And I think it was Days of Our Lives, or no, it was As the World Turns, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, As the World Turns. And so not only did they create a piece of content that you could say maybe launched an industry, because then obviously many soap operas, but then gave its name because they were trying to sell detergent, inside that piece of content. But then it became a very unique opportunity for a client to advertise in a channel that didn't exist before, and their agency created it. Amazing. So is an agency today going to create a soap opera? No. But could they create a similar type of content in a brand new channel and so forth for their clients? Yes. And then be rewarded for that creativity? Amazing. So that is a perfect example of how a piece of content can change many aspects of how we serve our clients. They clearly owned the strategic seat for their client. I think the client was P&G, Procter and Gamble.
Right. And they created that just for them. And I put this in the post, but it just goes to show that this concept of specializing and doing really, really interesting stuff from the constraint is very old.
Yeah.
And